And that looks like, holy cow, look at everybody in the chat here. Guys, that is awesome. Wow. Okay, I got to turn my own volume off. Look at me, I'm so bad. All right. I think I got this set up, guys. Listen, we're remote, right? This is our first live show remote. I am on location and we have a studio audience here who are all getting smacked right now for having their computers on. And I did the same thing, so I can't get upset. Anyway, welcome back. It's Jeff Norman, Home Renovation DIY. It's Christmas time. Jingle all them bells. We're here from 5 to 7. We're going to answer some questions. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to have a little Christmas cheer. And cheers to Sonapan for my Yeti mug. This is a free gift. This is the kind of glory that I'm basking in nowadays. Free cups. Um, yeah, we're doing something different tonight. We're working with our new StreamYard broadcast software stuff, right? And so we've got the ability to give away. And I'm like, it's Christmas time. Let's do a giveaway, right? So here we go. Let's do some giveaway. I want to say live in the chat. Let's just say hi to Robert, Existential Paint, Sandy Rose. You guys are here all the time. Yinzer House, cheers to Pittsburgh. Awesome that you're all here. Melanie's in the house. Wow, look at this. Very cool. We're going to do some giveaways tonight. We're going to give $100 gift cards. This will be USD. I'm in the States. That's right. I got myself a work visa. I need a control panel. Michelle, note, we need a crowd applause button. No real crowd applause, just a button. So anyway, we got ourselves a work visa. We came across the border, declared ourselves. So we're going to be doing some really interesting things to this year. Ought to be fun. Here's everybody joining in. I know it's going to take a minute for YouTube to tell everybody that the most important thing going on planet Earth right now is right here. That's fine. We are going to give away $100 Amazon gift cards. We're going to do it throughout the course of the show tonight. So hashtag DIY. That's complicated, right? I'm not going to make you do what do they call those things when you're going around? You got to find this, you got to find that, like a hunt, scavenger hunt. Yeah, that's it. We're not doing no scavenger hunt. All right. I'm not going to ask you any personal information. You don't got to buy anything. You don't got to set up for a website to send you emails every day telling you how wonderful their new product is. Just hashtag DIY. Get yourself into the chance to win a $100 gift certificate. And if you don't live in the United States, that's fine, because you know what? Amazon's all over the world, and so are we. And I'm just going to plug this, actually. As a matter of fact, we have accounts set up with Amazon EU, and we have an account in Amazon.ca. And we're here in the United States. We're not in Australia yet. But if you're in Australia watching this show, and it is midnight, and you win, I will give you an Amazon gift card. I don't know if you got to leave the country or if you got Amazon in Australia, but wherever the heck you live, I'm going to send you an Amazon card. Point is this: we're just going to give it away. It's your problem to spend the money. And of course, only members can be in the chat, so that only members can qualify to win this. Ha! How do you like me now? And here's the deal: we're going to send out a members community post tomorrow. Details of follow up, how you can send in your email and follow up with your win. Eric back in Ottawa, Canada, is going to push the button on the StreamYard thing. It's going to be completely third party, so y'all have just a good chance to win. And that's how it's going to work. Okay, so let's just get into this. Everybody is hashtagging DIY, and why would you not? I know you're not going to make $1 million on the show tonight, but we're going to give you what you need as far as life skills over the course of the channel, in the course of your DIY career, to make you all millionaires, renovating your own houses, upgrading your living situations, getting ahead of the curve, right? Building asset. Where else in the world can you get a 300% return on your investment in less than 90 days? Nowhere. And there ain't no magic to it. It's just blood, sweat, and tears and owning a property. I know. If the life formula was that simple, and it always has been, why they told us to not know how to use tools all those years ago, I have no idea. I renovated my house. I took my farmhouse. It was worth $200,000. Sold it for $650,000. Yep, not bad for 2 years' work, huh? I made more money on that renovation than most people do as a salary in 10 years. Now, you can do the same. Ain't no real secret. I didn't even do anything that sexy. Just put a new flooring and paint. Rebuilt the entire thing from scratch. That's all. All right, here we go, guys. Let's get into some questions. If you got questions, I'm here to answer questions tonight too. Like, I mean, that's why we do the live shows for our members. I know. Let's go through. Wow, we got rules. It's members only in the chat. If you're joining us tonight and you're not a member and you got a steaming hot question that's going to change your world, then go ahead. You can do a what do they call that, honey? My brain is not working tonight so far. I'm not going to have a lot of confidence with our audience. You can do a super chat. All right. You just hit the button on YouTube and tell me how important your question is by how much money you send me, and I will adjust how much time I spend on your answer based on that. So if you give me $1.25, I'm going to give you yep or no. But if you want to send me $20, I'll tell you why yep or no. All right. You hear that? That's kind of how that works. If you're a member, ask your questions, and as long as there's open airspace, I'm here. And if you don't get your question answered, just ask it again. We're going to try to stay up to date on the comments. It's the only way we can all keep our sanity. We're going to go right through this. Don has a quick question here. I see it. Why do palm routers not go on sale? A lot of specialty tools never go on sale, Don, because only people who really, 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 really want them are going to buy them. And so why would you ever give them a deal? It's just not sexy, bottom line. Not enough people know what a palm router is to make it sexy and put it on sale. You're not going to grab a lot of attention, all right? If you have a tool that everybody wants to use, you put it on sale, you'll grab a lot of attention. If you put on a specialty tool, 3 people are going to go, ooh, I've got to make my way over to that store. And that's not the point of doing a loss leader, right? Next. Okay, everybody's DIYing it. That's awesome. Okay. Well, here we are. And I just got told right. Mikey says that the Ryobi palm router often goes on sale. That's because it's a Ryobi. Nobody wants to buy that one. Just saying. It's about real tools, folks. Hey, not Tonka toys. Let's go. By the way, I'm over here in Leesburg. I'm having way too much fun. My wife and I drove down on our 5th wheel with our trailer. Leesburg, Florida, for those who don't know, is paradise. It's central Florida, so the hurricanes don't touch it. You're only an hour from any beach anywhere in Florida, except Miami. That's a 3-hour drive. But it's absolutely gorgeous down here. We got freshwater lakes. We like to do all kinds of crazy stuff down here, but we bought a property. Yeah, I'm sitting in it right now. And it's our next major project, and you're not going to see it for a while, right? But just to let all you all on the inside scoop, because I think you deserve it. Members should know what the hell's going on. This is a double wide trailer. It's 1,400 square feet, 2 bed, 2 bath. I didn't even bring my tools, right? So the first thing I got to do is go out and buy the cheapest tools I can find in the entire country to renovate this property. We're going to show you how you can do this on a budget. We're going to set the budget before we start. Okay. We're going to buy the cheapest tools as part of our budget. And then we're going to turn this thing into something that's sexy enough that people actually want to live here. We're going to show you that you can actually sell your house from anywhere else in North America, move down to Southern Florida, and have affordable housing. And, the weather ain't bad either. Yeah, Melanie's telling me that I'm missing the storm. That was part of the plan, just to be true. Okay. Let me get into some questions here, folks. It just disappeared here. What kind of paint do I use to paint vinyl window frames? Does it require specialty paint, not flake off? Thanks. That is a really great question. I wish I had a really great answer. I have never yet painted a vinyl window frame. I do know that acrylic paint sticks to vinyl just fine, as long as you don't have moisture issues, and that can be because of condensation and because of bad ventilation issues. So acrylic paint works great. Don't overthink it. Okay, it's basically plastic, and acrylic will bond to plastic. So I would just stick with that. I do know that there are a lot of window companies out there that actually will paint their window to the color specified after production, and some put paint in the resin and mold the window out of that paint. So the fact that they paint windows in the industry at the industrial level and still give a 20-year warranty pretty much leads me to believe that acrylic paint works just fine. I'm not going to overthink that. There we go. Just moved from Florida North Central. Why? Speaking from a Canadian, you just left the Garden of Eden. All right. Yeah, the drivers are crazy, but it's a lovely place to be. Okay. I'm not going to dish on Ryobi. I know I make fun of it a little bit. and they got that cute little lime green that just screams professional, right? Um, ay, ay, ay. But bottom line is, almost any power tool you can find in the market today is better than anything that was on the market in 1985. I don't care how cheap it is. So we really do have that advantage. What is the best way to track wiring from outlet to breaker? Well, that's easy. 1968 home. Hold on. When the dining room breaker trips, it affects the dryer. All right, Josh. Here's what you need to know right here. Um, there is such a thing as DIY. That's called doing it yourself. And then there's DIY, and that's called doing yourself in. Whoever the electrician is, hashtag not an electrician, on that project is putting your life at risk. There is no way in hell the dryer should be affected by anything else in the house. It should be on an independent circuit. Okay. So if you're having dryer problems when your dining room breaker trips, what you have there is some very creative wiring and very high likelihood of a fire in your sleep. So I would call an electrician. This is not something you want to diagnose on your own. That house has been wired illegally, and nobody ever inspected it or did a permit on it. So it's kind of like a forest fire, right? Don't run to the smoke, right? That's the best advice I can give you. This is not time to take time to try to diagnose. Get a hotel, call an electrician, get that sorted out now. All right. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to buy some Ryobis, Mike. I mean, everybody's joking about the Ryobi because I said cheap tool. There are actually better deals out there than anything at the box store. I'm actually looking at the Harbor Freight tools right now. We're doing a little mix and match, maybe some cheap stuff, maybe a little Walmart action. The point is I'm not sponsored. I'll do what the hell I want. So I'm going to go out and buy whatever I can find that's cheap. Probably a lot of corded tools too. The first thing I had to do when I got here to Leesburg is put shelves in my RV to put my clothes in. And here's the deal: I needed a saw and I didn't have one. So I went to the hardware store. I bought myself a $30 jigsaw. What a deal. Yeah, it was only 3.5 amps, and it took me about an hour longer to cut it than I needed to, but that's not the point. It got the job done. And you know what? Sometimes it's not about the time, it's about the cost. So if you need it done cheap, a 3.5 amp saw will get the job done. You're just going to be like, you got time to plan your week while you're cutting the wood. That's all. Okay. Mobile home renovation. That's what I'm doing. The floor joists are very interesting. It's not even the floor joists, Bradley. There's a lot of soft spots around here. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to fall through the floor. So I'm really intrigued, coming from a place where we use wood, to find out what kind of cardboard this thing is built out of. We're going to pull it back, open her up, and we're going to explore and identify good practices moving forward for everybody with a mobile home, so that you're not investing good money after bad, right? Because you don't want to put new money on something that's not going to hold up as long as the new product. So I can't put new flooring in here until I know the subfloor is good. And trust me, I ain't crawling underneath this thing to find out what's going on. I'll leave that for Mike Rowe. All right. Oh, yeah, yeah. Uh, okay. We got Chris here from North Carolina. He's shed faced or unfaced insulation in North Carolina. Well, that's the question, isn't it? What's your heat source? Is it you? Is it the light bulb? You understand, insulating something without a heat source is has no value. So if you're the heat source, I don't care. I do know this: if you put in unfaced insulation, you're gonna have air quality issues unless you cover it up with something. So if all you're gonna do is insulate, use the paper faced insulation. Okay, because you don't want to have that fiberglass floating around in the air while you're in there working, if that's your intent. All right. So consider air quality. You don't need plastic in a shed, but you need something to cover the insulation to separate you from the fibers. Okay. And Mary is telling me that she had a Ryobi miter saw. No, I'm not trying to trash on Ryobi. So if you're from Ryobi watching this, Musfaba. She says her motor burned up after 2.5 years. Fair enough. But you know what? I'm just renovating one house with it. So I'll get the cheapest saw I can get on the market. And it's going to be fun. And then just for fun, when I'm done this house, I'm probably going to give them all away, because there's no way I'm going to use this for the rest of my life. Let's go here. Brandon has got an entire house, has paint runs and drips from previous owner. Recommendations to get back to solid base for quality paint job. Yeah, the only way to deal with that, Brandon, is a palm sander and like 40 grit. Okay. They put acrylic in paint nowadays, right? That's like bulletproof. So if you want to do that smooth, you got to sand it with like 40 grit, or you can skim coat your walls, or you can get a chisel and you can chisel off all the drips. But you're into work, baby. Sorry to hear. That's too bad. That previous owner obviously didn't watch my channel and learn how to paint. All right. Well, there we go. And cheers, Mary. Think great to have you back. Um, Chris says my wife couldn't handle the humidity anymore. Plus, she wanted to be closer to the grandkids. Yeah, there's always a reason to move, right? I get it. I'm only here in the wintertime, and then I leave because of the humidity. Yeah, I love being portable. I sold my house. Now I live on the road. I'm going to go wherever the heck life takes me. What a wonderful place to be. Okay, let me get up to speed. I'm having trouble navigating my comment section because I think I adjusted it and now I'm not new. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's try this. From Pittsburgh. If overboarding quarter-inch drywall over old ceiling, lath and plaster, do you recommend strapping first per your video? First of all, I don't recommend using quarter-inch drywall ever, unless it's on a curved wall and you're using 2 layers of it. If you're covering up an old ceiling, um, I would definitely go with half-inch. Okay, this is the wrong time to save the quarter-inch space. It's a ceiling. It'll fall down on your head. Do you know how difficult it is to set the drywall screw on quarter-inch drywall so that it doesn't go through the paper? Seriously, like think about it. Just use the half-inch. It's lightweight and it'll hold up a lot better. You don't need strapping, but what you could do with lath and plaster is you can just take a saw and cut a hole. Identify. Here's the deal. You're going to have main joists, and then you're going to have 2x2 strapping going the other way on lath and plaster. And those are every 16 inches. So if you cut a hole anywhere in the ceiling, you can reach up and feel around, find those 2x2s, make a mark, and then just measure off in every direction 16 inches. Trust me, the wood will be there. You can confirm it with a 3-inch screw before you get started. All right. And then you can just chalk line your ceiling and then you install your drywall. Boom. I know. That's a whole video I just gave away for free. Mary says she found one windowsill different depth than the others. Shoot me now. Well, I get it. It's frustrating. But honestly, the easiest way to deal with jams on windows is do drywall return, and then all you got to do is have one sill on the bottom, right? And that can be very custom. Oh, I know. Hey, Tina's in the house. Oh, Jorge, we just finished building our garage, and your channel came in clutch. Love that. Love your videos and knowledge. By the way, if you're just joining us now and it's live, you aren't aware of this, but we're going to give away a bunch of gift certificates from Amazon tonight, $100 each. You got to put in their hashtag DIY to get in part of the contest. All right, that's all. And if you're not a member and you're watching, that's allowed. But if you want a question answered, you got to use Super Chat. Okay, too many members. I can't answer every question, and we're just going to do it that way so that I can maintain my sanity. All right, cheers. Well, here's an interesting name. I'm going to read this question just because you've got that name. Rebellious Rainbow Unicorn. Why should we ignore reducing the leakiness of our home with energy audit, adding insulation, upgrading our electrical system, getting solar through rebates and tax credits of the Inflation Reduction Act? Why should we ignore reducing? Oh, well, what does your energy cost you in a month? And how much are you going to spend to not cost so much? You got to do cost benefit analysis on your home. Like if you're spending $100 a month on energy and you're going to spend 10 grand on renovations, that's a lot of months. You're only going to drop your bill to $70. Best of case scenario, 20-30% reduction in energy costs. You really got to think about that. I'm not a big fan, right? Like when I'm renovating an old house, I'm updating all of the systems on that house. I'm getting a modern system layer on layer on layer. Okay. And you get a cost benefit analysis. But if you're just renovating a kitchen or just the windows or just some insulation, you're not getting any benefit out of that. It's just money being blown. So consider that. And, you can have your own opinion on that if you like. But I always told people, I said, why in the world, if you have a house built in 1940 and you're doing the bathroom, are you putting plastic on the wall? I know you're supposed to use vapor in Canada now, but that's like 12 square feet of the entire house is going to have plastic. Do you have any plans of ripping all the rest of the walls off and updating your system? If no, then that plastic's pretty damn redundant, isn't it? Like having a screen door on the bottom of a submarine. Well, it's almost sealed up. Oh, yeah. Thank you for confirming someone did not do proper electrical work or inspection. Merry Christmas. You know, Joshua, sometimes you just gotta go with your gut, you know? And that's another thing, guys. If you got a question burning like that, don't wait for the live show. Become a member. Get in the forum. Ask me your questions. I know I've been traveling for the last 5 days to get my butt down here. I'm a little behind. I apologize. I'm going to get jumping back into that next couple days. We'll get up to speed by the weekend. But don't wait a whole month if you think that you might have a fire safety issue going on in your house. Hi, yi, yi, yi. Okay. Sometimes the big question is laminate or vinyl, and sometimes it hotel or killed in a fire. Like just you know, don't wait. Um, okay. Uh, this is why Bradley's saying this is why he ended up getting and gutting and putting in Advantech. Yeah. Well, if you're going to update a whole system, then do a whole system. Then there's a benefit, right? But piecemeal and renovation never pays. Okay, let's see. Nice hat there, bud. Merry Christmas. Can I just say it? Yeah, Merry Christmas to all of you too. And don't let it offend you if it offends you. There's no reason for that. I love Christmas. It's cute. It's festive. Everybody gets along. Not such a bad gig. All right. There's a question from Gary. Cheers, Gary. You pulled the carpet out of the church basement, the concrete floor. Any tips to remove the glue? Hmm. You want to paint the floor too. Floor enamel from Home Hardware or garage floor epoxy as a finish. Yeah, I got a tip for removing glue. Um, you want to go out and you want to get yourself a scraper, all right, and a heat gun, and spend about 3 weeks. An easier way to do this is to paint it with a multi-surface bonding primer and then add a little bit of a layer of floor leveler. Okay. And then you can put your garage floor epoxy right on top of that. Some things just ain't worth the work, right? Lose an eighth of an inch on the height of your basement and just get a new surface to work with. Cheers, buddy. Um, listen, there are professional equipment available, but nobody wants to rent it. Like, the real pros, they've got a great big 24 or 30-inch grinding wheel with, like, in my little cup grinder for my little grinder that I have, right? Only it's 30 inches wide. And they'd run a basement like that and they'd do it in an hour or two. But go ahead and make the call and see what they want to charge you. And you'll be pouring floor leveler too. It's the only cost effective way as a DIYer. Okay. Bump, bump, bump. We've been at this for 23 minutes now. And just to be clear, I'm here. My wife is here. Eric is not here. He's back in Ottawa. We're testing out our remote live stream situation. You know what that means? If this works, I can do this anywhere, at any time, for any reason. Okay, Eric, I'm thinking it's time to go give away a gift card to somebody because why the hell not? All right. Ho, ho, ho. Here we go. Look at this. And he has hit the draw button. Boom. And we're scrolling through to see who wins this sucker. And the first $100 in U.S. funds to anybody on planet Earth is going to go to Sabrina. Cheers, Sabrina. Here are the instructions for how you can collect your said money. Wait until tomorrow. We're going to send out a community post to all of our members and give you the instructions of the email address that you can use to collect this. All right. And for everybody who needs to do some last minute shopping, consider Amazon. Why the heck not? Tools are a great gift, and I've got a whole bunch of them on my Amazon page that I love to use, and you can bless people with those gifts and tell them if you don't know how to use it, that's fine. Here's a channel. You'll learn how to use it. Change your life. All right. Yay. That was fun. Look how easy it is to give away money. I didn't have to do nothing. Yeah? How long has Sabrina been a member? Woo! Good for her. Appreciate your support, Sabrina. That's awesome. All right. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get back to some questions. Now, remember, if you're just joining the show, that wasn't the last draw. Hashtag DIY. Get in on the next one. And to be honest with you, I have no idea if everybody who already put in hashtag DIY is still eligible. So do it again. I do know this. If you put in 1,000 times, you're only going to be entered once. But better safe than sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay. Mikey's saying, oh, he's not a question. He's just throwing some sunshine. That's cool. He watched my painting videos before painting his 2 bathrooms, and no one believes that he did it himself. Right? Well, congratulations, Mikey. I know it's not even that hard, right? You're probably like, that actually worked, right? It's the difference between when people go, you did this yourself? To, you did this yourself? Right? It's my videos. I know. I don't want to be like, I designed that painting system for homeowners so you guys can be professional-ish without having to take years of skill to develop those skills. That's awesome. Proud of you, man. Because now that you can paint, you can increase the value of your house 10% with a brush. You can paint the inside, you can paint the outside, you can get 10% return on your investment on the entire value of your home. And depending where you live, that can be a lot of money. And if you aren't aware of that, that is true. We have this little thing called the the cost value report. And it tells us what costs to get renovations done all over North America, right? Different districts, and what the value of that renovation is post finish, right? And most renovations have about a 70 to 80% return on investment, which means TV is a lie. Most renovations, you hire a contractor, you lose money, but you get something new. I know that shocks people when they really think about that. Wait a minute. I'm going to put $100,000 in a renovation and my house is going to grow in value 70 grand. Now, if you really understand the market and housing and design, and you don't get caught up in the whole wheel of things, the cog, right? You can actually do really smart things. We're going to talk about that this year as well. But the point is this: if you DIY it, you only spend 25% of the cost that a contractor would. And if you get 75% return on your investment, you just made a 300% return on your investment. Boom, because you get the same return as the contractor does. You just don't have to pay anybody. Not a bad gig. Now Mikey's got a skill. He can make a living no matter where he lives. Mike can go live anywhere in the world and be a painter. Always somebody looking for a painter. Is it worth it trying to paint an old tub/shower rather than replacing? That all depends, Nick. If it's a tub/shower fiberglass kit and it's like yellowy brown because it's just super old, then hell yeah, just don't do it yourself. All those aftermarket kits don't work. You want to call someone who can come in here, bring his compressor, and bring in some high quality paint that he has to wear a respirator for vapor protection. Okay. It's super high quality stuff. And that is a great way to do it. They charge about $300 to $500 to do the job, but you get a brand new bathroom and you don't have to rip it apart first. So as long as your plumbing ain't leaking, great call. It's a great way to update a space. Okay. Yeah. 5:30. Wow. I haven't taken a drink for a while. Cheers. Wow. And by the way, did you know that you can actually gift members? We have a new member. Christy just joined. I'm a little behind on the chat, but I just noticed that. Cheers, Christy. Welcome to the membership program. Hopefully we can answer some questions for you tonight. You can actually gift a membership for Christmas to somebody if you want to. Think about that. That might be like a last minute. Oh, I forgot. I didn't get Dad a Christmas present. We're running out the door. Cheers. All right. And then who knows? Maybe we can help Dad too. All right. And some lady named Michelle is hitting on me all over here. This is awesome. I'm pretty sure I know who that is. Okay, there's a bunch of DIYs. All right, everybody's back in for the membership. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And Sandy's giving everybody heck because you didn't all hit the like button. Love it. Keep up the good work, Sandy. You're awesome. And we have a new member named Carl. He joined at 5:20. I am so far behind. I'm just going to get up to speed. All right. I'm taking the cursor right to brand new. All right. And a new member named Suzanne is here. Cheers to you, Suzanne. Wow, I'm going to get forwarded up. Oh, and JB is a new member. Cheers to you, JB. I already caught Christy. All right. I'm up to date. And I'm going to try to, hopefully it stays up to date. Somebody say something and I can test this out. And Robert just did a super chat. He's got a question. So let's answer that. What are my true thoughts on Huber's Zip versus house wrap? I barely see Zip used here in North New Jersey. Just wondering if it's worth the investment. Well, I don't want to rain on anybody's parade. Um, Here's the deal: Zip versus traditional house wrap. It all comes down to the application, right? Because what we're dealing with here is chemistry versus physics. So house wrap is physics. Water, gravity goes down, and house wrap, as long as it's installed and sealed and taped right, diverts the water down to the foundation and away from the house. Zip wall is designed through with a similar concept, but with a lot of chemistry, and it seals all the joints, and that's fine. That works great. It's a great product. It gets you a great air seal as well as a weatherproofing system. The question is not is Zip a good product versus house wrap. It's why do we want to take our construction technology from a standard of house wrap to the standard of sealed up, air sealed? That's a new thing. And I don't mean like last week. I mean like anything in construction that's not 40 or 50 years old is new. Now, Zipwall is decided to get in the marketplace. They're making a way where you can have a sheathing and an air sealing and a waterproofing system for the outside of your house all at the same time. And that's great. Nothing wrong with that product. Costs a pretty penny. I do know that in Canada, we see that a little bit. I actually was driving down the street one day and Zipwall was going on this house and traditional house wrap was going across the street on this house in the same neighborhood. And when they go to sell that house, nobody's going to be talking about the Zipwall system. I don't see the cost benefit analysis working over here. If you're making a really nice home and air sealing is really important, and you are going to be using an air recovery ventilation system, so you're constantly bringing in fresh air and saving that energy from being exposed out of the house, y- the quality of the overall build really is the thing. 80 to 90% of all homes in North America are still built about the same technology as 1980. Okay, Zip is a new technology, and it's for people who've got the money to pay for new technology. Most of us that are on planet Earth are still trying to just survive. And the technology is not as important as is the affordability of the house. So if affordability is your issue, Zip is not your answer. If you're just renovating or remodeling, probably not your answer, unless you're going to tear the entire facade of your house off. But if you're doing a new build and you want to get a good air seal, then Zip is a good answer. How's that for being politically correct? All right, boom. Yeah. Wow. And I lost a lot of time. Where am I? There. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. And another member named Ryan. And then Patrick has a question that he's willing to pay for. So we all have to wait. Patrick, thank you for helping me build my shed and more. I've learned a lot from watching you. Merry Christmas. Patrick, thanks for sharing your love, buddy. That's awesome. Appreciate that. We make a living here helping folks. It's kind of a cool gig. And it's awesome. Thanks for chiming in and saying. And by the way, if you bump into me, don't be afraid to say hello. I actually kind of like saying hi to people. We bumped into a few people on our travel down here, and they're just like, "Oh, I can't believe you're down here." It's funny how many people think that I live in Vancouver or Toronto when I live in Ottawa, Canada. But then when I come to the States or when I'm in Canada, they always think that I'm American. Like I don't understand it. Yeah, I'm a digital nomad. That's my story now. I have no home. I just wander. I'm like the littlest hobo. And if that's a reference you appreciate, wow, you're old. All right. That's right. Oh, where am I, baby? Am I up to speed? I'm up to speed. Let's go find a question here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Oh, look at all these loves, all this love, all these. Oh, it's so nice. Um. Okay. Here's a question from our Yinzer house, our friends over there in Pittsburgh, members for a while. They've been renovating their house. It seems like you've tackled every project under the sun so far. This is fun. Some of our old painted exterior window trim. Okay, when we're talking old, we're talking so old makes old people look young. 150-year-old house we're talking about here. Does not have metal flashing on the top. Hmm. Cover the window. Yeah. Worth adding or just paint, seal, and pray. All right. Okay. Now here's the mind blowing moment for you. All right. If you're in a house that's 150 years old, what you got to understand is back then the construction technology of that house was energy was dirt cheap. You cut wood or you used coal and you had a big furnace in the middle of the house and you made so much heat that the heat radiated through the whole structure and then melted the snow outside in the middle of the winter. Okay. That's how hot that house was. No insulation in the walls. If you were going to update your system and get rid of the potbelly stove and add insulation in your walls, then what you're going to find out is that your house isn't going to have the same capacity to dry the facade, all that wood around your windows, because you're going to stop that drying process from happening by being more controlled space and not having as much energy escaping. So, the secret to you is this: if you have a 150-year-old window and you don't have proper flashing and you want to update your house and have a modern interior, you got to update your exterior, have a modern exterior. You're going to hate me for this, but you don't have any flashing. You don't have any weatherproofing system, water diversion system beneath your facade. So, what I would suggest to you is this. Huh, two options. One, make sure no water gets in behind your facade. So, exterior polyurethane caulking and a repaint of the entire house. Don't have any ability for the wind and rain to get in behind the wood because that is going to come down. It's going to hit the top of the window jamb. And it's going to come into the building. But now it's not going to dry and it will go to mold. Okay. So if you want to protect that, you either add another layer on the outside of your house with a weatherproofing skin that goes right up past your fascia, so that water is diverted to that weatherproofing like a Tyvek, and then all the way to the bottom, and then your facade sits on top like the new vinyl siding. Or you peel off all of that exterior wood, put on a house wrap, strap it, and then put all the wood back on, and then build out all your window frames with proper drip edge. It's a lot of work, but that's what you signed up for. Or don't insulate your walls and really enjoy heating your home. There, there's three solutions. Look at me. I'm the solution guy. All right. Oh, my goodness. We got a new member named Ryan. Cheers, Ryan. I should probably have a sip every time I say cheers. It's more fun. My pom pom is falling over somewhere. Is that better? All right. I'm going to turn this bucket. This is a really small hat. I think it's for the elves. Patrick has a question. Oh, nope. We've already done that. All right. He was just saying thanks for the shed. And here we are. Charla Rouland, new member. Cheers, Charla. Okay. Jeff, fix your pom pom. You actually made the comment. My God. Okay. Suzanne wants to know, what is the most cost effective flooring for a basement workshop? Thanks for your videos. I've learned so much. The most cost effective flooring for a basement workshop is a concrete sealer. Just paint the concrete with a sealer. It'll absorb into the concrete. It'll stop it from being dusty. Okay. It won't ever peel or bubble or lift. It's a penetrating sealer, and that's done. And you can even get it in little bottles for tile. It's the same stuff. Masonry sealer. Try that. It'll change the world. Now, if you're looking for comfort, any kind of flooring isn't going to give you proper protection against the concrete and then that long-term effect of being on concrete. So seal it and then go out and buy one of those kitchen mats. They're like about an inch and a half thick that are designed to take all the stress off your lower back and knees. Boom, done. Cost effective. And you can move that mat anywhere you got to work in that room. Or you can buy 4 or 5 of them. But it's a basement, right? Treat it like one. Give it no respect. Spend as little amount of money on that flooring as possible, and it'll perform really well for you long term. And if it ever starts to get dusty or dirty and over a few years, you can just get another round of sealer and put it right over top. No big deal. Don't even think about it. All right. Cheers, Suzanne. Okay. Uh, our Pittsburgh Zinsser House. Yeah, did I say Zinsser? That's this oil-based spray paint. The Zinsser House. Wow, we got a new nickname for you now. The house is so old, Santa skips it and leaves the raccoons, water, and rodents to come down on Christmas. That's funny. Appreciate that. All right. Uh, okay. Wow. There's a lot of people having a lot of fun here. This is good. Um, Brandon is saying here, well, he living in a 7-month-old house definitely has its drawbacks. Updating with a 150-year-old house sounds like a nightmare. Right. Listen, uh, you get great bang for your buck when you buy a really old house. The secret to that is to understand that there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into updating it so that you can get your return on investment. It took me 2.5 years full-time work, and I had my son Matthew to help me as my laborer. And we busted our butts to do that job. Like that was full time on the channel when we started. The average person would probably take a lifetime to remodel a house if they were only doing it nights and weekends. And you still got to take breaks once in a while for sanity's sake, right? So yeah, I mean, it's a commitment. Now, if you can take 2 years off of life and go and renovate a house like that, it's an amazing experience. And like, yeah, we did real well. It's also tax-free dollars, so consider that. Like, I think just for pure transparency, we made 400,000 tax-free. And in Canada, I got to make about $700,000 to get that money back. They're tax-free, and it took me 2.5 years. So I made a salary about $300,000 a year renovating my own house. I just need to be able to afford to wait until I sold it to get the money back out, and I had to have the money to invest to get it into it. But being in contracting in my life provided all those opportunities. So for every contractor out there, think about that. Every once in a while, it's nice to take a 2-year hiatus away from customers. Just do one for yourself. That's where the money is. Anyway, anywho, and how. Oh, that's a great question. Charlotte wants to know how to determine how to lay out new LED lights in a basement, where to put them, and how many different switches. Okay, that's a lot of questions. That's a whole video or three. Basic law is most of these lights, Charlotte, they have a 110-degree angle. Okay, so that's 90, 110. Stick it like that. All right, which means from 8-foot ceiling to where the light hits the ground, it makes about a 5-foot circle. Halfway up, you're like a 2.5-foot circle. So you need enough lights for the average 6-foot person or 5-foot person when they're walking through the basement. They're not walking through light beam into darkness and the light beam into darkness, right? It's very creepy. So if you have an 8-foot ceiling in your basement, maximum for me, 42 inches apart. Okay. If the ceiling is shorter, you can go to 36 inches. If it's taller, you can go up to 5 feet. But that's how you do it. Just do it like a grid. All right. And they last forever. They're only $10 each, so you can throw as many in as you want. And you can have 100 on one light switch. As for how to do the zones, we'll set up the light zones based on functionality. If you want this on, this is on. Three-way switch what you want, so you can come and go from different zones in the basement. Depends how big your basement is. But you can have all the lights on one switch and one dimmer. You can even buy a smart light and then have it attached to your phone. So when you're sitting on the couch, you can go, I'm going to watch a movie now. I want to dim the lights. Pull out your phone, doot, 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 boom, dial it all down. You can set up your room to be in different zones on your light switch nowadays either. All kinds of technology out there. It's really a lot of fun. So don't be afraid to have some fun thinking about that creativity. For an extra 50 or $100, you can get a couple of really cool switches that talk to your phone, and you can run things. It's like really, really Star Trek. It's freaky. Brandon says, touche, I'm very happy I didn't throw another 40K at the builder to finish the basement, leaving it be done by yours truly with you as my virtual building helper. Well, we're in the middle of our basement series. How many are watching it? Raise your hands. I can't see anybody. That doesn't help. All right. So here's the deal. The basement that we're doing is really awesome. It's huge. I'm a sucker. I like a good punishment. But we did a really cool subfloor system in there. We did great finishing systems. And I built an entertainment system wall unit, 19-foot floating shelf entertainment system. We did hardwood flooring, for Pete's sake, engineered flooring. So I'm going to show all of that in the videos coming up the next few weeks. That's going to be amazing. And just a quick shout out, if you're just watching the channel now and you're joining us, hello, welcome. We're giving away Amazon gift cards tonight, $100 at a time. And all you got to do is go #DIY in the comment section. If you're a member, you can comment. If you're not a member, you can't. You only can win if you're a member. I guess that's the drawback. No big deal. But we do these live shows every month for members to help them with their questions and to have a little bit of fun together. We are, after all, a DIY community. All right, here we go. Hand raised. Comment hand raised. That's awesome. Okay, cool. There you go. A bunch of people needed to hear that. That's great. It's 5:45. Let's do another one. What do you say, Eric? I'm on remote location in Leesburg, Florida, and Eric is back in Ottawa, Canada, and he's helping us out tonight. So we are going to go do another giveaway. We're going to do it in about 60 seconds. Hashtag DIY. Everybody's watching. If you haven't got in yet, get in the contest anywhere on the planet, wherever you are. We're going to send this to you, and you can shop on Amazon. Um, yeah, why not? I know it's not the devil. All right, it's just convenient. All right, here we go. And oh, I got one more question. Oh, Eric is already doing it. He's hit the button. Here we go. Who's going to get it? Doot, 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 doot. Wow. Winner, Mr. Gork. Ah, congratulations. That is awesome. All right. And of course, we're going to send out a community post for members tomorrow. So if you win one of these tonight, there'll be information there of where to send an email so you can collect your gift card. And guys, consider the idea of using Amazon to save your bacon in the last minute. All right. The distribution model is so amazing right now. You can actually get presents by tomorrow. Like, who'd have thunk? And you can get tools, or you can give a membership from our channel away to someone who definitely needs it. And that's nice. It's a nice way of saying you don't know what you're doing. Give someone a membership who's trying to do DIY without help. Save them. Help them. I've seen some of the most horrific work in the planet. And it's really interesting. Some people are just like, the bar is really low because they don't know how good they can be with a little bit of help. So give them a little bit. Mail in ballots not happening. Congratulations, Mr. Gork. And we'll do another one soon. Anyway. Oh, and Don's saying he's going to get that DeWalt Palm rotor if he wins. I love it. Well, there you go. Tell me what you're going to get if you win. I'd be really curious to know. Okay, let's get back to some questions. Who's got a question? I don't see any. No, this is delicious and still quite full. I've been rather lacking. I've been not giving it the attention it deserves. Thanks, baby. All right, I'm probably not up to date with my questions here, am I? Oh, I got to fix my thing. All right. Return Sarah. Like return to sender? What is that? That's fun. Tub drain overflow. Okay. Can I replace a snap-on ABNA overflow with the kind that has two visible screws without altering the drop-in tub surround? That's a really great question. There are two types of tub overflows basically on the market. We'll call them the standards. There's other crazy weird things that are going on, but there's two options. One of them, it's glued to the pipe, and it has its own flange and a gasket, and it goes up to the tub. Okay, and then it's threaded, and so the finish threads into it, male to female thread. The other one is the one that has that same fitting, but inside this ABS or PVC or PVC, sorry, it has built-in screw holes, and then there's a little bar that gets screwed over it, and then there's a cap that's screwed to it. And there's a lot of different options for the fittings for that. So if you have the type that has the ability to have things screwed to it, you can make the modifications. Okay. Some of them have a bar and there's one screw in the middle. Some of them there's two screw holes, and then the finish plate has two screw holes. You can line that up. But if you have a threaded kind, you can only put in a threaded kind to finish. All right. And that is just the way that works. Okay. Oh, that's an interesting question. There's a section of my half finished, half unfinished basement. Small section of unfinished part basement is leaking. It is fine to just get a French drain on the unfinished area. Is it fine? Okay. Wow. Let's go through this scientifically. So you got unfinished and finished part of your basement. By the way, when you guys are asking me questions technical about stuff like this, please let me know where you live and how old your house is. Because construction technology over all the years changes my answer. All right. So what I'm going to do is before I answer that question, I'm going to give you a chance. All right. This is Noisy Rye. Please send me information in the comments here about the age of your home and roughly when you think the basement was finished and what the age of the house is. And then I can give you a proper answer. I don't want to just give you a guess. Um, yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's do that. Um, Alex is trying to take apart a vinyl window in the basement to put drywall in. Okay. One half opens and can be taken out, but the other is fixed. Any way of taking out the fixed half without damage to the window? Oh, I get it. You're trying to use your 4-foot window as a way to bring the drywall into the basement, and you got one slider, it pops out, and the other slider's not popping out. So it's not a slider. Yeah, no. If it's not going to move, it's not going to move. What I am going to suggest is this: take a look at that side that's fixed, that you think is fixed. And right at the very bottom, where there's the track and it has a little bump on it. And if that ridge is molded into that window, okay, and you can see the melted seam, then it's fixed. But if you see a U channel in the window and a track and there's a little tiny gap where they come together, it's not fixed, it's just sticky. Okay? And there's a difference between fixed and sticky. Sometimes when they put in windows, they pour the concrete and they don't protect the dimension of the window, and the window ends up taking too much weight and the frame bends a little bit and it gets a little jammed in there. So it's okay if it's never been open in 20 years to force the sucker open. Worst case scenario is you blow the glass up and you can buy a replacement for that. But um, yeah, you should be okay. But that's how you can tell. I have yet to see a sliding window where one side is fixed and doesn't open. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's just sticky. Cheers. Now let's get back to that basement. Montreal, 1951. Thank you very much. All right. So in 1951, we didn't have building technology. We didn't have building code. We didn't have science. We had the Wild West of construction. Everybody's out there trying to develop new products and systems. They were trying to be the ones that were going to be part of a national building code, and they were all trying to buy off people or sell their soul to the mob to get part of the construction industry. It was crazy. 1951. If your house has never had the exterior waterproofed and it's leaking in the unfinished area, it's safe to assume it's leaking in the finished area too. Sucks, huh? Now here's the deal. If they waterproofed the exterior of the house before they renovated the finished part, and they only waterproofed that area, that's actually still a possibility. I know builders who would agree to do that. It's not really genius, but truth is, it's okay if your foundation leaks a little bit in an unfinished area. You can manage that. And you could add the French drain. What I would be more concerned with is, why is it leaking? The 1951 house doesn't all of a sudden have structural issues, right? It's old news. So is it leaking because there's been a change in what's going on around the building? Do you have new neighbors? Did you get rid of a tree? Did you do some gardening, right? Or did you just are you not maintaining your eaves trough and your downspouts? Or is the house just is it got something going on with the drain that is holding water up against the foundation that you need to fix the grading so that the water moves away from the building? Okay. You might find that it's a lot easier to put a French drain around the outside of the property than the inside of the property. So you can keep water away from the foundation wall. And if you don't have waterproofing on the finished area, that's a great way to keep the whole basement dry. Now, if it's coming through a crack in the wall, you fix the crack, injection. If it's coming through where the wall meets the floors because they're poured at different dates, you got water sitting outside the house up against the wall. Hydrostatic pressure is pushing that water through that gap, even if it's sealed in mortar, okay? That's where the water's coming from. So if you got standing water outside your building, it's like a crazy amount of pressure. It's like 1,000 pounds of pressure on that water because it's stacked up. And hydrostatic means basically how much water, how high is it stacked up? That equals the pressure being forced at that joint. You lose every time. So get the water away from your house, put in a French drain, dig a trench around the house a couple of feet, throw in a 3-inch pipe on a sock, geotextile cloth underneath that, some stone so the water can find that cloth, divert it, boom, get it out of there. We're going to do that video one of these days soon. But in the meantime, if you need a more specific answer on that question, send me a picture of your house in the forum and I can check it out and give you some more detailed advice, okay? Okay, enough of that. Wow. We should have just filmed that as a video. My goodness. Here we go. Yeah, I know. And Bradley wants to know if there's any tips on keeping construction life and renovating life and family life separate and tend to all of those and keep the better half happy. No. Listen, there's no such thing as work life renovation balance. You're either in renovation season or you're not. And if you're in renovation season, then what you got to do is communicate with the family and say, hey, this is the season, this is the expectation, this is when it's over. Is everybody agreeable? You got to negotiate that stuff, right? You got to at least have an understanding. And when renovation season is over, whether you finish the job or not, that's your problem. You owe it to your family to get your life back together and then set up the next renovation season. Okay, fair enough. Loving it. Okay, Bradley, don't lose a relationship or alienate your kids trying to fix up your house. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Chris is adding a sliding door in a double wide. Do you need special size sliding glass door or can I use a standard? Okay, the only thing that's going to be unique about the double wide is the thickness of the wall. Okay, and you can always trim out on the inside of the building to do that. If you're in a double wide trailer, though, I would suggest you go and find a trailer supply store because the industry has its own industry standard materials and you can actually get that. Like just down the street, there's what's called the Mobile Home Depot. And I didn't know what that was when I first moved here. I'm like, and it's even a yellow sign. I don't know how they get away with it. The point is this: everything in that building is specialized for mobile homes, right? The vinyl 4-track windows that we have in the sunroom in the house and back in the farmhouse, thousands of dollars for that. But I can do that same thing down here in Florida for like 800 bucks because it's just normal, part of the market. Who knew that things could be that cheap? Anyway, the point is, if you're dealing with a specialty building, go deal with the specialty building supplier. Home Depot and Lowe's aren't selling things specific to the needs of this building structure. So you go find out, Google a mobile home material supply store, and you'll find someone in your area, I'm sure. Otherwise, just install the door flush with the exterior because that's your waterproofing, and then build out the inside. That's the only option you got. All right. And honestly, you can get 2x4 thick sliding doors because there's still houses that are made of 2x4s. And so the variance in the mobile home versus a 2x4 wall isn't that great. You can't overcome with a little bit of trim. All right. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Jeff is in a good mood tonight. You know why? I'm in Florida and I'm missing the entire mother of all evil storm that's going on through all of North America. God, I really feel bad for all of you guys. I mean, it was really lousy weather down here today. It was kind of cloudy and 17 degrees and got a little bit of rain, but that's better than 3 feet of snow, I guess. Oh my. All right. Okay, here's an interesting question. Your master bedroom has conduit running under the hardwood floor to a closet. Okay. I need to relocate this without tearing up the floor. Can I attach MC cable, the straight portion of conduit and reroute? Wow. It's difficult for me to understand the question, to be honest with you. If you don't want to open up a floor and you've got wiring that you want to relocate, you have to open up the ceiling under the floor. That's it. Okay. End of discussion. You got to see what the hell you're doing when you're dealing with the electrical wiring in a house. This is not a speaker wire. This is carrying power that can start a fire. So if you aren't going to open the floor, you got to open the ceiling under it. And that's the answer to that question. Okay. Um, Pittsburgh wants to know if I got a good rule of thumb on the life of vinyl windows before replacing. We're coming up on 20 years for most of them, which is typical when warranty ends. Yeah, that's the funny thing about these windows is it's not the window, it's the seal, right? It's the argon gas, which is like $3 when you buy a brand new window. It's like nominal charge. When the gas leaks out, you lose the protection of that gas, but the rest of the window works just bloody fine. So the warranty is over on the window because the gas seal leaks over time, and they don't want to have to be on the hook for replacing your gas or fixing your windows up. But the rest of the window works just fine. So if you're happy with a 95% efficient window versus what you had previously when the gas was in there, It's not where you need to spend your money first in a whole home renovation. I'll put it to you that way. Everything else can be done, and then you can switch those out later. Um, I would think there's even people in the market who'll come and refill the gas, and you can get a specialist to do all the windows at once. So consider that as a balance. But most of the time, these vinyl windows last a lot longer than 20 years. Okay. If I have a cast iron drain in the basement, can I use Schluter drain directly, or do I need an adapter? How would you do it? Well, you can't attach modern plumbing to cast. What you've got to do is you got to open up a hole big enough that you can cut the cast out, remove that section of cast, and then put on two rubber sleeves. Okay. Then put in your new plumbing fitting, whether it's ABS or PVC. Move the sleeves back over the new plumbing, and it all gets tightened up with gear clamps. That's how you get a new seal. And you can cut the cast with a cast iron reciprocating blade, and you can get really good, effective cutting with that. So that's how you would do the surgical installation of that. And then once you're modern plumbing, your modern plumbing will attach to any Schluter fixture. Okay, so that is the system. Okay, all right, we got a new member here, Boucher Greg. I'm gonna guess your first name is Greg. Welcome to the DIY community, my friend. Here's wow. All right. That's funny. Return is my middle name. Sarah's my first. That's fun. All right. Uh, okay. Question from JB. Can a heated cable floor system be installed on a concrete floor, or does plywood need to be laid down first? No. You can install a wire directly on the concrete. Okay. You don't even need any fancy tricks. You can actually get a don't get the craft version, but get the get the DeWalt version at the Home Depot. Okay, of the hot glue gun. What you do is you take your cable and you just throw a dab of the glue and you set your cable in it. All right, every foot or so, and you can actually lay your cable out in the hot glue, and then you can cover that in a leveler or a thin set just fine. All right, you don't even have to use any fancy mats, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, a lot of people get a little worked up over, oh, well, we should have this panel or this system or insulator. We want to know heat rises. So even if you heat the concrete, sooner or later that heat is going to leave by rising into your bathroom. It's it's just about as effective. So if you're going to lose 10% of your efficiency when you're heating a floor, who gives a rip? It's not worth the extra cost and expense and irritation and adding layers and thicknesses to your floor. In a lot of cases, we just put the glue, drop that cable right on the concrete and go, which is great for people who live on a slab on grade, right? You don't want to lose the extra height. Now, the other downside is when you go directly on concrete, now you don't have a crack isolation membrane going on, right? So make sure you at least roll the isolation paint on so that if your concrete develops a crack, it doesn't translate into your tile. That's the only biggest issue. Okay. So, yeah, you can cut some corners and you can go with a less efficient installation, but you still got to protect yourself against accidental damage on your tile, which is, it makes a brand new installation useless, right? Takes all the value out of it. So be careful. Um, did I relocate to the States? No, but I am here on a work visa. We passed the border in Buffalo about a week ago, and the folks over there were kind enough to allow me to come into the country to continue what I'm doing here legally so I can renovate a property and make videos on it. Because we don't have a whole lot of double wide trailers in Canada. Unless you go so far north, it's the only way to live up there because it takes too long to build a house, and the construction season is like 6.5 minutes. So they all live in trailers. Why the rest of the country has not adapted a trailer community concept, I have no idea because it's perfectly safe and livable in the wintertime, and it sure is affordable. And the whole world's got their panties in a knot over affordable housing. We could just take some empty space and throw 100,000 trailers out there and put everybody in a home. Problem solved. Don't understand why we're still screaming and fighting and arguing about affordable housing. It's not a government solution. Just get the hell out of the way and let people put these mobile homes up, and we'd all be just fine. But, you know, uh, everybody wants to solve $100 problem with $1,000 solution. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Uh, wow. Can I use a stripping agent to an old, dirty, stain finished parquet floor, or do I need to sand? Yeah, you're going to want to sand. The thing about parquet is, depending on the age, that was really thin wood. And so, depending on your substrate and how flat your floor is, it's going to depend whether you get a good result. Parquet is really hard to sand, especially on dimensional lumber flooring, because dimensional lumber flooring moves like this. And so, by the time you sand on an angle to get it all flat, you've exposed the floor underneath the parquet. So, be careful with that, right? Um, but no, using chemicals to clean that up isn't going to be your best bet. I would definitely sand it, and you're only going to get to do it once. Okay, so you get one shot at that, and that's it. So be gentle. Um, Andrew has a 5-year-old house. He's finishing the basement. What product do I use to prime new drywall before painting? That's really easy. We actually did a video on this. It's going to be coming up soon. There's a lot of different primers on the market, and a lot of them are being sold unnecessarily at a higher cost than is necessary to perform the task. New drywall primer. Those are the 3 words you want on your can. New drywall primer sealer. Okay. That stuff should come in somewhere around 16 to 20 bucks a gallon. And if you're paying more for that, you got the wrong product. Okay. This is really a simple product. It really just absorbs into the paper of the drywall and then dries so fast it seals it right there. So all the future paint work sits on the surface of the wall and isn't getting sucked up by the drywall core. Because if you don't seal it, instead of putting 1 gallon of paint on the average bedroom, you're going to end up putting 2 gallons of paint in that same bedroom. And the gallon of paint is running you 60 to 100 bucks for a gallon, where the drywall primer runs you 16 to 20. So it's an economy issue. If you use the right primer, you save a lot of money on finishing. All right. And there you go. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. I wonder what's going on with the storm out there anyway. Okay. We got a Burlington, Ontario house, 50 to 60 years old. The house isn't sure. It's keeping it a secret. Oh, when starting the renos, when do you need to watch for asbestos? Tile floor, what else could have asbestos? Merry Christmas to you, Michelle, the boys, and Max. All right. Jane, here's the simple answer. Asbestos wasn't used in Burlington after 1974. Okay. So if your house is 50 years old, you still run the risk of having a little asbestos in there. But it was being phased out of the industry for the 10 or 15 years prior to that. So there wasn't a lot of it around. So you might have a minute amount in like a stipple ceiling or a minute amount in a drywall. But generally speaking, just wearing a mask during demolition, it's not a big deal. If you want, you can have it tested and you can find out what the level is, right? Here's my thing with asbestos. If you're going to expose yourself to a little asbestos once in a blue moon, it's not going to be a problem. If you're going to expose yourself a lot and you're sensitive to it, then it can be a problem. Okay. So wear a proper mask, get proper ventilation for your house. Don't do a job like that in the wintertime when you want to leave everything closed up. Okay. This is like a spring, summer thing. When you got the windows open, you got fans, you got air blowing, you're wearing masks, you're doing the demolition, you're vacuuming up, you're cleaning up. That's a great way to protect yourself. The other thing is this, asbestos is always dangerous when it's airborne. Okay. So if you take things apart in the biggest pieces possible and remove them to the outside, that's a great plan. Like, take your drywall and then peel the whole sheet of drywall off. Don't just smash it away with hammers and knock it in a bunch of little bits and pieces. The other thing you can watch out for is vinyl tile, very popular in the 70s and the 60s. And this will be glued down tile. And if it's 8 inches by 8 inches, okay, that particular product, when they realized that asbestos was the problem with that floor, they stopped making tile that size. So all tile that is 8 by 8 will have the potential to cause you serious health effects if you break it up and chisel it off your floor. Okay, so know that stuff is dangerous. That has the nasty hooks in it, and you can't ever get that out of your body. Some asbestos, it's like a fiber, like getting a sliver, and the body can expel that over time. But the one that's in that floor has got a fish hook on it, all right, and it won't ever come out. And so you got to be careful. A lot of the guys that have got the mesothelioma issues have the hooks, and they were in manufacturing facilities and they were exposed to it long term. So eh, I I knew one young man who got into construction. He was in one situation when helping someone for a weekend, and he had a reaction to the asbestos spat. He had to go to the hospital. So one time can do it. So do be careful. Um, my work visa is for 1 month, Robert. Just joking. It's for a year. We got 1 year, and I might never go home. Who knows? All right. Um, okay. Let's see here. It is 6:10. Let's do another giveaway, Eric. Yeah, I got to catch my breath after talking about asbestos. Man, that's depressing. All right. Oh, whatever you do for a living is going to kill you. All right, let's get a new winner. And if you're just joining, guys, we are drawing $100 Amazon gift cards, and we're giving away tonight. So if you're a member, you can get in the draw by putting hashtag DIY. Carl wins that one. Cheers, Carl. That's awesome. We are going to put out a comment tomorrow on the community post. We're going to give you information and an email that you can contact this Carl so that you can get your card as well. That is awesome. And we are answering questions live tonight with our members and anybody who wants to super chat. If you're not a member, that's great. I'm happy to help. And we are going to do this for another, well, almost an hour. All right. We're going to have 2 more draws. Okay. Before we're done tonight. This is going to be fun. Yep. Merry Christmas. We're giving away $500 tonight. Why the heck not? This is awesome. Just our way of saying, hey, thanks for all your support to our members over the last few years. It's been the actual difference between us being a success or failure on YouTube, because what we do is very expensive, and without your support, monthly guys, I don't know how we'd be able to do it. It's incredible. We got, got someone here looking to build a woodworking shop in his garage. I was wondering if there's any specific features that a DIYer would need in a miter saw and table saw. Any specific features? If you're talking about purchasing tools for a shop, wow. I'm not really a shop guy. I'm more of a job site guy, to be honest with you. But I love the idea of having an outfeed table for my table saw, because the most dangerous part of a table saw is when the material binds on the blade, right? And so having an outfeed table so that everything's always supported and there's nothing twisting and falling and moving around, that is a brilliant idea. So consider that, and consider getting a little roller stand for your material so that you can have your chop saw and you can have 16-foot material. Like put your chop saw at one end of the room, and or maybe right smack dab in the middle, depending how long your garage is, so that you can have long material in there and you can measure full length material. That'll be huge. See, a lot of guys, they put their chop saw in a position that's like it's not conducive to anything longer than 8 feet. But if you're doing baseboard on a 20-foot on a 16-foot wall, you want to use a 16-foot piece of material, right? You don't want to joint. So consider that. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. We got some questions. Loving the hat. Waiting for the blizzard. Yeah, tell me about it. No blizzard for me this year. And I'm just going to say, I worked bloody hard to be in a position where I could get my wife south for the winter. And she's not complaining. All right. And I'm working bloody hard to help you guys so that you can too. Like, why not? Let's pack Florida full of the entire country every winter. Why not? That should be everybody's goal, if you ask me. Get the hell out of Dodge. You got electrical running along support beams. Ooh. I want to finish basement ceiling with drywall. How much space do I leave between strapping and electrical? So here's $1 million question, right? My building code doesn't require strapping to be any thicker than the wire itself. What it requires is that the wire isn't under compression. All right. So almost every wire, if you use a piece of 1x3 strapping, the strapping is thick enough to eliminate compression for that wire. So you're not creating a hot spot. The secret is having your wire organized enough and having you organized enough that you don't accidentally put a screw through that wire when you think you're going into strapping. So make maps, make marks, chalk line your drywall, measure off exactly where you're going to go, organize your wires so they're in straight lines, not diagonal, because that will cause you issues. And that's all you really got to do. Okay. So you just need to add some 1x3. And if you have anything like a stove wire or something like that, consider rerunning it and drilling holes. And if you don't want to touch electrical, then go from 1x3 to an actual, instead of strapping, go buy actual 1x4 lumber, and it's 3/4 inch thick, and it'll be thick enough to cover just about every wire that's used in home renovation. All right, and you should be fine. It's more about where you put the screw and less about the wood. All right. Cheers, noisy. Never gonna get used to that. Okay. Okay, guys. And if you're just joining, make sure you hit the hashtag DIY, get in the next draw. We got some questions. I'm moving to the very beginning here. If I've missed your question, I'm sorry. Just ask it again and we'll try to jump in. Man, I need a drink. Ah, hmm. So Alessandro has an interesting question here. Um, if the lower rim of the kitchen window is lower than 35 inches countertop height, how to hang a floating counter under it? Yeah, that's not a question I can answer. Alessandro, if you want me to talk about your kitchen, you're gonna have to jump in the forum. Send me a picture of what's going on and what your plan is, and then I can chime in and help you out to design a space around that. But in a lot of cases, the most cost-effective way to do a kitchen, if you have a low window, is to remove the window and put in, build up your facade and put in a new higher window. That's always the best concept. Okay, here we go. Let's get to some questions. Okay. Someone wants to know if I'm on vacation or I'm here for a year. I'm here for, well, I might not stay the whole year, but I have a work visa for 1 year. That was just to provide us some flexibility. There's a lot of opportunities. Our channel's getting bigger, guys, and we just want to be prepared to handle the opportunities. I've got speaking engagement opportunities. I've got home investment opportunities all over the country. We'd love to be able to continue to buy and renovate houses that are different construction style than what I have where I'm from. Right? We recognize that a lot of our audience are down here in America in the South. So I'd love to be able to do like a house in, let's say, Georgia or Alabama or South Carolina, where there's just a crawl space, right? The house is on a crawl space, or something in Texas, a slab on grade, or like we're doing here with a double wide trailer. So we're gonna do a few different things so that we can learn and experiment together and have suggestions and have that experience, so that you've got relative experience to the kind of house that you live in. Right? Okay. Um, oh boy. All right. Let's go here. I'm in need of a new oil tank. Ooh, 1950 South, Northeast US. Anything in particular I should know before I choose who to hire? Find out if you're allowed. The way the world's going right now, if you have an old oil tank and it's got to be removed, they might not let you even put a new one back in. I don't even know. Um, but if you're wondering how to know who you should hire, that's a crapshoot. I can't give you any advice on that. Um, the best thing you can do is hire someone who's old. Hire someone who's been around for a while. Okay, or who has a lot of referrals and a lot of they've really spent time developing their business and marketing online, so they've got referrals and you got access to their customer base where you can check to see what the customer service was like. Okay, there you go. I'm getting opportunities to go film at somebody's house royalty free. Imagine that, honey. Yeah, well, we'll see about that. We've got all kinds of crazy ideas. We're going to be working out a lot of logistics to working at other people's homes. Is things like insurance, right? State law. I'm not a licensed contractor, so we're working on defining all of these relationships, and we'll have announcements as we sort all this stuff out. But it's always been my goal to be able to come down here and work at other people's houses, and we are working towards that. This work visa is just step one in the process, and it was painful, let me tell you. Now, okay, yeah, it is a crapshoot, John. You're right about that. Hiring a contractor is always a crapshoot. It's kind of like getting a good hairdresser. You don't know until you try, and then you're stuck with it until the next time you get your hair done. And that's not because I have any hair. That's because my wife does. All right, I know that. Okay, we got a question here. We got a 1988 built 2-story in New Jersey. Poor insulation. where the drywall planes meet. Worse in rooms with outside facing walls. Of course, rooms cold in winter, hot in summer, newly reinsulated attic, and rim joists. Okay. So you want me to diagnose your problem? I'll tell you right now, it was built in 1988, two-story. Um, I don't know what the building code in New Jersey in 88 was, but you might have a house built out of 2x4s and not 2x6. So you might only have R13, not R20 in the walls. And in New Jersey, you might be just south enough that they didn't ask for plastic, so you don't have an air barrier. And that point, they didn't want you to air seal the exterior of the house, right? So you got a lot of things working against you here. And it might not be the insulation, it might be a draft. You might have too much air passing through your walls, which is great for keeping things dry and not molding, but it does kind of sucks in the wintertime because then you get all that heat loss, right? Um, yeah. The only way to fix older houses that have drafts, and I say 88 is older because we weren't sticklers for things, okay? Energy was still relatively cheap back then. We hadn't learned our lesson. If you want to make your house less drafty, you want to put an air seal on the outside of the house. You want to make it sure that you at least have Tyvek and you have it taped, okay? And that'll do make a dramatic change in the amount of air blowing through your wall. And if you can stop the air infiltration, then you can get rid of the drafts. It'll make the house a lot more comfortable. And you'll find that no drafts means you don't have to run the thermostat as high and you'll save a lot of money. And that is a great place to start. It is a lot cheaper to peel apart the siding on a house and put new siding on than it is to tear apart all of the interior of a house to update an air barrier system. Okay, so consider that. And maybe you only got to do one or two sides of the house because your winds are predominantly going to be southwest. Once in a while, you get an east wind, but for the most part, it's going to be southwest in New Jersey. So consider that. If you could fix two walls and get rid of most of your drafts, you might solve most of your problem and be very cost effective doing it. Well, we got Joel from Cornwall here. Can you use copper securing clips to hold your PEX line on joists? Because the plastic clips are too thick and go beyond the strapping. Ah, I see what you're saying. So you're saying you're going to run your your PEX line underneath your floor joist, and you don't want to use those plastic clips because then strapping doesn't give you enough thickness to. Okay, here's the thing. It's PEX. Drill a hole in your floor joist and run it that way, and you don't even need a clip. That's an easier solution. Now, if you're sitting there and you're looking at your plumbing and it's in the way and it's already done, and you want to do something like that, yes, you could use that copper nailing system. Okay, I don't see any problem with that. If nothing's moving around, it's not going to cause a problem. Okay, so no biggie. I would suggest maybe wrap electrical tape on your PEX first before you put that strap on. Everything vibrates. And so a little extra protection so that it doesn't end up cutting into that pipe over 50 years would be not a bad idea. Jeff, are you dealing with Vega lighting? Oh boy. Yeah, guys, listen, we've had a lot of changes with some of the distribution deals that we've been working on. Okay. Uh, the last couple of years with just getting products here from China has been maddening, right? So we've kind of suspended all of those arrangements just because we don't have the capacity to deal with all that uncertainty and unknown. So no, I have no deals with anybody right now. Unfortunately, right? But what do you want from me? Uh, they can't get product. They can't guarantee product. They can't ship it. They don't know how to solve your question or answer your problems. And so we've just moved on. We've decided to suspend the whole program for now. And we have a new member. Hey, cheers. Oh, I got to give a shot at this name. Hasket? Maybe? Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong and butchering it. If you have an interesting name, write it phonetically. Whatever that means. Yeah, I never did Hooked on Phonics, so I don't know how to work all that out. But cheers. Hopefully we can be of help to you in all of your renovation needs. We have a question here. What do I think of Kitech Plumbing? Never heard of them. That's what I think. I have no idea what you're talking about. Is that a new product or is that a company? I have no idea. Maybe you can do a quick Google search on that. Kitec. See if it's a product or a company for me, right? Okay. Is there such a thing as insulating caulking? No, but there is air sealing. capability with caulking. And so air sealing is the same effect as insulating, right? Like when you exhale, that's coming from 90 something degrees inside your body. That's the temperature of the air. But if you blow it over somebody's skin, it makes their hair stand up, right? Because it feels cool. It's because it's drying moisture on the skin. So drafts make you feel cold, even if it's hot air. So when you cock up a draft, you stop the air movement, it makes everything feel warmer. So that's the solution to your problem. Did you catch anything for me on that Kitech insulin problem? No? Okay. But not quite. All right. Oh, I apologize. I'm going to be lousy with names for the rest of my life. That's just one of my weaknesses. Um, you're from Ottawa. Cheers. Well, cheers to Ottawa. Everybody in Ottawa, back home. Enjoy the storm. My goodness. Yeah, Joel. The best thing about PEX is even if it's existing, you can drill holes. You can cut your PEX and you can pull it all apart and then stick it in the holes and then throw on a shark bite or throw on a coupling. There's all kinds of options. That'll be a much better solution than trying to fuss around with that other stuff. All right. Okay. What's up? You got the Kitech plumbing for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kitech plumbing systems, which were recalled due to defects back in 2005, were installed in hundreds of thousands of homes in Canada.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. Generation 1 PEX. Big surprise. Listen, I'm not a big fan of new things. I've been telling you guys this for years. Every time they come up with a new product or a new solution, I'm like, I'll wait 20 or 30 years before I jump on board. Because houses have to last hundreds of years, right? I don't care how new and fast and fancy and flashy it is. They have to last hundreds of years. And do you know how many times new products have called new products have caused new problems? So don't be the first guy to do it. Let someone else experiment. And then we'll move on. Yeah, definitely. If you have that Kitech plumbing, you do run the risk of having a failure. So I would definitely recommend if you have Generation 1 PEX in your house, get rid of it. I don't know about the brand itself. I do more research on it, but listen, if it's part of that Generation 1 and it's got all kinds of problems, you don't want it in your house. You just don't know when it's going to blow. Okay. Yeah, right. In Montreal, not allowed to do anything except change your light bulbs. Nah, no kidding. Okay, here we go. David has a question here. Any tips on crawl space encapsulation? Hmm. Okay. Hmm. I guess that all depends on where you live, because not every crawl space is the same. So I had a crawl space in Canada at my farmhouse, and I would treat that differently than I would a crawl space in South Carolina. So David, I need to know where you live before I can comment on your situation. Okay, so throw that in there and we'll get to it. Um, uh, yeah, new products cause new problems. They just do. We always take assumptions. We always make assumptions. Oh, this is an improvement. Not every time something new comes along, it's a good idea, right? So if you're going to have an experiment, run an experiment, but don't. So, I'm going to try this new thing and this new thing and this new thing, and my house is going to be amazing because now you've compounded all the different factors that go into what used to make it work, and you might add or remove something that was the reason why it worked, and you cause yourself a brand new problem. Okay. So here's fun. Joe wants to know my opinion on Matt Risinger or Risinger. I think Matt's a fine guy. Listen, Matt's in a different world. He specializes in new construction technology for people with money. Okay, Matt has nothing to do with the average folk, and that's what I do. I deal with people that no one has a voice. Matt deals with the people who have enough money to be on HGTV, right? And that's a different world. I deal so a lot of these people, HGTV, the Matt Risingers of the world, other guys that are dealing with like best products, best practices. That's the top 10% of home construction. That's for the rich. Okay, that's for the one percenters. It's crazy. The average folk is getting a track house, they're inheriting an old house, or they've got something that's fallen down around them, and they need to know how to fix it up, and no one's telling you anything about that information. So that's what I'm doing. I'm filling that gap. All right. I'm not here to try to be sexy TV. I'm just trying to be practical and help folks out. So that's what we do. And Matt has his lane and I have mine, and that's fine. I have no problems with his information. The products he uses are amazing. They're just not affordable for most people. That's all. So his products and processes just aren't affordable for most people on a practical scale. And so I try to teach practical so that everybody can have somebody to help them out and not just the folks with all the cash. Besides, you need me more than anybody that he talks to does, because they can all hire a contractor. You can't afford any other contractors. 9 out of 10 people can't afford a contractor in their home. Not anymore. Times have changed. Contractors are too expensive. Materials are expensive. Housing market is questionable about the future. So if you want to do something, do it your damn self. Okay, here we go. Bradley wants to know, how do you deal with the permits on a mobile home since it isn't to building code? It's to HUD code, especially since my inspector is not the nicest guy, fights with engineered plans. Well, I always have a thing about inspectors that want to fight with the engineering plans. I'm like, here's the plans. You take it outside and go fight. It's nothing to do with me. Here's the phone number of the engineer. You want to fight? Fight them. Don't get in my way, right? But anytime a city inspector wants to hold up your job, if you follow the engineered plans, listen to me very carefully here. City inspectors, listen carefully. It's a thing called damages. Okay, that's a legal phrase for you got in my way and it's costing me money. And if a city inspector wants to get in your way and cost you money because they don't like your engineered plans, too bad. They're not engineers. Hate to say it. It's not their job to get in the way. Take your nose and put it back where it belongs. Know your place. Damages. It's a lovely word. You'd be surprised. A letter with the word damages, how fast everybody changes their attitude. Mobile homes have rules. It's a temporary structure. Okay. We're going to remodel it. Every state has its own rules. No problem. You find out what the rules are. You work within the rules. You don't even need a permit. You don't need a permit to change your flooring or painting in a lot of places. That's why I'm in Florida. I'm not in California. I don't think you can I don't want to say that. That wouldn't be fair. There might be kids listening. But you can't wipe your bottom in California without someone giving you permission. So I would never renovate a house there. I'm just not that crazy. I don't know. I mean, I see the property brothers do it on a regular basis. They hire contractors in California. They show up, they do a photo op. Oh, I'm holding a hammer, but they don't actually do any of the damn work. But they get away with it somehow. So they must be hiring actual contractors to do all the work for them. And that's fine. That's their TV. That's their business. I don't care. Brother versus brother. Oh, brother. Okay. So Red Sonia, he's trying to put in new flooring, vinyl plank. The old vinyl sheet won't come up. Tried scraper and heat gun. Seems to be glued down all over, not just the edges. That's the way it used to be done. Yeah, Sonia, that's how it used to be done. We used to roll it up like a scroll, and then we would move the glue all over the whole floor, and then roll out one side, and then we'd get on that side of the floor, and then roll the glue out the other side, and then roll the floor back over it. And it's miserable. Why not just leave it there? Consider it like painted concrete and just move on. Your vinyl is going to perform just fine laid right over top of that stuff, and it's not going to cause you any issue whatsoever. So I would suggest leave it and move on. It's not worth the fight. All right. And that would be it. Beautiful. Okay. Lots of mouse problems in 1957 Milwaukee area ranch. Pest guy said he could put up mesh, but recommended just finishing the garage instead. Interesting. Well, that's the thing about mice. If you got a garage and you're going to insulate it, then they're going to want to be in it. Right? So you either finish it and close it up and seal it up, or you don't. And you don't insulate it. But that's just the way it works. That's the choice you got to make. Unfortunately, those pests are not going away. They reproduce faster than us, and they'll be here long after we're gone. Is it a better idea to soundproof starting from the hardwood floor or from the drywall ceiling below? Okay, if you haven't put in your floor yet, putting in a quality underlayment underneath the floor is a great idea. But there's two different kinds of sound you want to deal with. One is sound transmission control, and the other is impact noise. So hard floor surfaces having sound proofing for impact noise is vital. Okay, it's two different issues. Who needs sexy TV anyway? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, right? I'm not trying to be sexy, but I'm looking good in that Santa. Oh, Sandy, please. All right, here we go. That's just going to get right out of control here, isn't it? All right. Okay. Back to Pittsburgh. Previous owners may have cut some joists short in the basement for who knows what. Not apparent yet. Can I extend these by sistering more wood without going the full length? I'll give you the same advice I give to everybody who's dealing with structural issues. You need a structural engineer, or you're going to be creative and you're going to roll dice. That's the joys of home ownership. I go with structural engineers all the time. And you're going to find that the engineer, in a lot of cases, if it's just one joist or two joists, then they'll let you laminate and create a triple beam, and they can extend it, or they might have you put in a support post column in the basement, help carry the load. And there are solutions that are cost effective, and there are solutions that are just downright crazy. Just don't put a grand piano on top of your repair, and you will be fine. Oh, really? Mary says she has to get a permit to change the stove or install drywall. Wow. Wow. Mary, where do you live? That just seems really ridiculous. Anyway, um, renovating a house in Hintonburg, that is from Ottawa. That's a little village down there. That's older neighborhood. I love it. When the bathroom walls came down, I found framing that was horizontal, strapping over top of vertical studs that were made of what looked like 1x3 but facing flat. Sure. Unsure how to reframe. Um, I don't know either. I need to know the age of your house in Hindenburg. There's a lot of different era there. It's not just all 1930s. But there is no such thing as a problem of having horizontal strapping over top of your framework. So if you want to minimize your scope of work and not tear it apart and not risk causing a new problem, then whatever frame was there before, I would stick with it. I'm a big fan of that. JB wants to know what the code in Ontario regarding bridging or blocking between 2x12 engineered ceiling joists. 2x12 engineered ceiling joists. Code in Ontario regarding bridging or blocking. The code on Ontario actually, it all depends on the product and the span of the engineered joist. Some of these engineered joists, if it's only 16 feet or less, don't need any bridging or blocking. Okay. And some of them require specific bridging, blocking, specific fasteners, specific rails, right, inside that engineered joist. So it depends on the product. If you aren't sure or can't find the information, send a picture into our form, JB, and I can help you out. But I've worked with engineered joists that up to 24 feet. So there are products that have specific design requirements, and the engineer of that project would have the specific details in the plans when it was built, and those plans would have to be signed off by the inspector. So generally speaking, that's always done right. But unfortunately, in new home construction, you know how it is. You're only going to get 3 inspections out of the 15 phases, and things get missed. So yeah, you could have issues. You might be a little light in the load, right? Sometimes you need to tighten everything together. Oh, that's maddening. Hmm. Okay. The problem. Okay. Back to that vinyl glue down floor, guys. The problem is the 3/4 inch MDF flooring under the vinyl sheet is squeaky really bad because of nails. I want to put in screws. Can I put them through the vinyl? Okay. Here's the thing. If you've got 3/4 inch MDF underneath your glue down vinyl, that stuff is held on with these silly little pin nails that are like about 1.25 inches long and they're super thin. Okay. Which means you can cut your vinyl and your MDF with a utility knife in a big square, take out the vinyl and the MDF at the same time because it's not really MDF, it's like LDF, it's like light density fiber. All right. And then you can get a pry bar underneath it and take the whole sheet of MDF up, remove it all, get back to subfloor. The only reason the MDF was used is because it's an older house. And back in those days, they used to have sunken floors and they would either put an MDF in vinyl or they would pour in concrete and then put the tile in the concrete and be about an inch, inch and a half thick. Okay. So that was kind of standard building practice. And it was like this or that option. And until we got to modern technology in the 60s, where we moved everything to thin set, we didn't have the technology to keep our floors flush on the same subfloor. So they had adjusted subfloor heights for kitchens and bathrooms. And that's how they dealt with it, by building up if they wanted to go vinyl or by pouring in a lot of concrete, put the tile on. So that's what's going on. So just get rid of it all if it's old. Okay. And then that'll give you the ability to start from your subfloor, which is where the squeaks are coming from. It's not the MDF. It's the subfloor under it. So you can't solve your squeaks unless you get right back down to that subfloor. All right. Sounds like a lot of work, but it's not that bad of a deal. You'll have it done in an afternoon. You'll cut your hole, peel all that crap out, and be able to screw down your subfloor all in an afternoon. So don't be overwhelmed. You'll be just fine. Bradley keeps wanting me to become president here, honey. I don't know what to do. I think I'm not allowed because I'm not from the United States. Okay, sorry, that's off the table. All right. Yeah, I'm not running. I'll run for a People's Choice Award, maybe. But then I'd have to become a singer, wouldn't I? That's not going to happen. Okay, somebody's got a boob light outside the front door, changed it out, but it's full of spider webs again. I think they are getting into the wood awning in front of the door. Solution. No, it's called maintenance. I have nothing for you. Right? If bugs go in, the spiders will follow. So unless you can seal it up so the bugs don't get in there and there's no dinner for the spiders, you're going to have spiders. That's just the way she goes. Okay. So we got a gentleman here who is renovating a 1965 home. If the rest of the home has craft paper insulation and no other vapor barrier, is it make sense to put vapor barrier in the walls of the bedroom he's renovating now? That's a really good question. It all depends where you live. So if you live where they sell paper faced insulation, then you're in the zone where that is still the standard. If you live in Southern Ontario and you're renovating a 65 home, we used to have paper faced insulation and they changed the standard to a plastic vapor barrier. We no longer sell paper faced insulation in Ontario. So you're going to have a product that you can't even get anymore. So here's the answer. If you go to the hardware store in your local city and they're still selling paper faced insulation, it's probably still acceptable in the area where you live to install in new construction. So you can just go back with the same stuff and not be worried about it. All right. Cheers. And that's usually the easiest answer. If they're selling it at the store, it's still part of the building code where you live. Okay. That's how you can avoid that kind of conflict. Oh, you live in Washington. The permit document for mobile home is ridiculous. Yeah. Right. So what you can do, Mary, is you can move your home to like Alabama, where there's like almost no permit process, fix it all up, and then move it back. That almost seems ridiculous, but I bet it'd be cheaper. It is a mobile home after all. Oh, I don't want to joke. I know it's frustrating. I get it. Okay. The flooring over the full basement, but the joists are 2x10s, not engineered joists, and some are 2x10s. Okay. Yeah. Sonia is asking me a question about her flooring. I missed some of it here. Oh, okay. So it's still about the vinyl, and then she's mentioning that it's 2x10s, not engineered joists. Some of the 2x10s are warped. Yeah, that's fine. That happens. And 2x10s are great. At least you don't have 2x8s. That's really weak. And there are a lot of houses that were like skimped on in the 60s and 70s with 2x8s. So at least you got 2x10, Sonia. You should be fine. Yeah, no worries. I still say go right back to it because they would install the um, the subfloor, like the OSB, onto that 2x10 with nails. And when you step in between the joists, there's pressure upwards on those nails, especially if it's a joint on the plywood that's sitting on that joist. And so as soon as that plywood lifts up a little bit, every time you step on it and it moves, it's rubbing on the nails, and that's what makes the squeak. So until you add screws to your subfloor, you can't eliminate the deflection, which causes the squeak. And that is what's going on. Okay, let's see. Brandon, am I allowed to move a pre existing outlet to an adjacent stud bay without drilling another hole in the wall's header? Rather, drill a hole in that new stud bay? An adjacent stud. Okay, that's a really interesting question. I'm going to say this, Brandon. If you have an electrical box attached to a stud, and here's the confined 16-inch stud bay, right? And you want to move it from here to the other side of that stud, the only way, there are two ways you can do it. You can drill a hole in the wall, remove the wire out of the box, run the wire through the hole, reinstall a box, and then connect all the wiring again, which is one way to do it. A lot of jurisdictions require an electrician for that. Okay? Because you're now removing the ground from the box, and they want to make sure that you know what you're doing so that that plug is grounded again. So it has to be done on a permit. Or you take that existing box and you notch out the stud. You open up enough drywall that you notch out the stud, you pass the wire, you don't even take it out of the box. You just jump into the next stud bay, attach it to the wall, and then put a metal plate over the wire that's going through your stud. Now you haven't modified that installation, you've just changed the location. And in a lot of cases, that'll pass. And if you're not sure, call your building office and ask them if that's acceptable. Okay? Because every region is different. But I mean, I've been on houses before where we're renovating, and we just drop a wire from a ceiling and put a switch box on it. Say we're going to build a wall here, and we're just going to notch it in, and that's what they understood. And so they pass rough-in inspection on wiring for us all the time for doing that kind of thing. But I lived in Ontario, and the rules were pretty casual in a lot of cases. They weren't as ridiculous as some jurisdictions. Okay, let's get down here. Where are we? It is 6:47. How many have I given away? 3? 4? Eric, is there any chance you can jump into that comment section there and tell me if it's been 3 or 4 of these gift cards that I've given away? I feel like it's 3. 3. Good. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. Guys, if you're still watching, or if you're just joining us, put in hashtag DIY. Get into the content. We're going to give away a couple more Amazon gift cards right here in just 1 minute. We're going to do one now. We're going to do one in 10 more minutes right at the end of the show. Okay, so yeah, make sure you're part of the draw. Like, what the heck? I'm happy to give it away. I think it's fun. Lawrence is a new member. Lawrence, quick, put hashtag DIY and you can get in on the draw. All right. Here we go. And then we'll get back to a couple more questions. We'll get into some rapid fire, really stupid questions if you got them. I love stupid questions, rapid fire. We'll do that for the last 10 minutes. All right, Eric, let's just go ahead and let's find another winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Boom. Oh, we got to get some sound effects for the show. It'll be just way too much fun. I keep on seeing Sandy's face pop by, but it's kind of like the Wheel of Fortune, you know? And it's like, oh, $1, and it goes by. Winner, BH. Winner, winner, winner. Okay, fantastic. That one's done. Guys, we got 10 minutes. Let's stay up in the comments. If you got a question, hit me up now. I'm going to do rapid fire. Anything you want to know, DIY or otherwise, I don't care. My life's an open book. And then we got one more to give away in a few minutes. Marbled Paladin, new member. Cheers. Welcome to the show. And don't forget, hashtag DIY. You can get in the last draw. Jumping in here late, Damien. I am in Leesburg, Florida. Kind of like, just to the left of Orlando and north of Tampa Bay. Stupid question, what's in the drink? Something that requires a little bit of discretion. All right. All right. Oh, my goodness. Here, that was a great question. Let me get there. Can I frame non-load bearing basement walls with 2x3s instead of 2x4s to maximize space and savings? Um, can I use GRK frame screws instead of nails to save myself from buying a nail gun and to undo mistakes? Okay, so first of all, yes, you can use GRK framing screws. That's great. In a lot of cases, depending where you live, 2x3s are fine, but you got to still have room for an electrical box. So that's where we run into issues. As long as it's an interior wall and it doesn't have to be insulated, the 2x3 works just great. Your problem with saving money is that you're saving on lumber, but then your interior doors are really expensive because they have to be custom, or you got to spend time ripping down all the jambs because nobody makes 2x3 frame jambs for doors. So consider that. You might be ended up cost yourself a lot more money trying to get your doors made or fixed or repaired or messing around or fussing around. So in a lot of cases, it's really not worth it. But yeah, I don't have a problem with that. It's non-load bearing. It's just interior wall. So go do you. Okay, let's get into the rapid fire. Cereal in the bowl first or milk in the bowl first? Oh, that is not even a question. I always put milk in first. And then it was like always a great big battle to like be able to turn everything upside down, right? Yeah, that was me. I'd have the cereal mounted outside the bowl, and I try to get my spoon in there and turn it all over without getting it knocked all over the countertop. And I was always making a mess. Um, my favorite adult beverage. Am I a whiskey guy? Bradley, I am such a Crown Royal whiskey guy. And my recent trip to Spain, my wife and I went and celebrated the fact that we're still married after 32 years, which is kind of cool. We went to Spain. I fell in love with this new dark spice rum called Zacapa. All right. Zacappa, if memory serves me correct. It is absolutely to die for and smooth. And I really enjoyed that. So cheers to all the folks making that delicious brew. Is it worthwhile to replace the current copper pipes in the basement with new copper or PEX, or leave it alone while I'm renovating the kitchen, that is? Depends on the age of your house. If your house is over 50 years old, it's definitely worth thinking about it because the mechanical systems of a house are only designed to last 50 years and they will last 50 to 100, but do the math and balance and cost benefit analysis on yourself. Thoughts on wall mount toilets? Oh, dear Lord, really? What a waste of money. Enough said. If I'm going to spend an extra $1,500 to $3,000 to have a wall mounted toilet just so I can create the illusion of space, I would rather buy myself a cruise for two for a couple of weeks. I'm thinking that's going to have more value. You know where Leesburg is. Great. If I bump into you, say hi. I like to say hi to folks. You have to tag in for each draw. We don't know, so do it. It's just safe. We'll figure that out down the road. We're going to do more of these down the road. A lot of think was the only second giveaway we're being bad, I guess. Oh, yeah, really. Here we go. New member, Kabul. Make sure you hashtag DIY, get in the next draw. We're going to do it in a few minutes here. Okay, old carpet in the basement. Nice wood floors upstairs. Do I replace old gross carpet with luxury vinyl plank, or is engineered click lock hardwood a better choice? Here's the thing. Wow. If your basement is dry and you know it's going to stay dry, then engineered flooring is a great choice. If you're not sure or you can't guarantee because you don't have a waterproofing system, go with vinyl plank because it won't expand and contract with temperature variations and moisture and humidity and all that kind of issue. Wood is only good if your house is bone dry and you've got modern waterproofing technology. Okay. So cheers to that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let me go here. Now that you're in the West, maybe you can get Sonopan down here. I'm trying, Charlotte. I am trying. Harbor Freight tools might last long enough to do your renovation. I'm thinking I want to give them a try because you know what? Like, why the heck not? Stupid question. Feeling nostalgic. Do your kids also say sawzall or skill saw as a generic term? Right? Bottom line. We don't use the word reciprocator or circular saw very often, do we? And we don't use the word facial tissue either. We use Kleenex because brands win that battle every day of the week. My kids are a lot like me. They learn what they learn from their dad. So they're a lot like me. And they will be saying sawzall or skill saw until the day they die. Milk first, what? Is it a pain to use 2x3s? My mobile home has 2x3 interior walls. Learning a lot of stuff by trial and error. Okay. Yeah, it is a pain to use 2x3s. I get it. Now, if you live in an area where you've got a mobile home material supplier, then you can get doors with the 2x3 jambs, but they're just not very common in other districts. So it's takes a lot of research, right? Milk and ice cubes first, then the cereal. Milk and ice cubes. Oh my goodness. Wow, you're making breakfast an event, eh? Look at that. Pineapple on pizza or no? I'm Canadian, of course. Um, ice cubes, like right? I do believe it is American beer with is like drinking water here in Canada. Yeah, you're damn right it is. Wow, yeah, American beer. I've never even bothered to drink it because it has fours on it instead of fives. So why bother? Do you put pineapple on pizza? Of course I do. We just answered that. I'm currently stacking round bales in northern Iowa. What is the R value of 6-foot cornstalk bales? That is a question I have no answer to because it doesn't make any bloody sense. I live in Chicago and they do sell faced insulation at Home Depot. Thanks. There you go. There's the answer to your question. If they sell it, it's made for your district. All right. They change their inventory based on the building code region to region. And they're brilliant for that. So it helps make life simple. Pineapple people are better than those that are at sardines. Now, I never said I didn't like sardines. Careful now. Or anchovies. That's right. Okay, Jeremy says he's got studs that are installed sideways in his kitchen. He's plans to tile the wall. What do you recommend to shore them up, prevent them from reflecting so the tile doesn't crack? Get rid of your drywall and throw in a 1/2-inch curdy board. Boom, problem solved. We got a new member right here. Check this out. And it is home built. Loving it. Make sure you put in hashtag DIY. Get in the last draw. It's going to come up in about 2 more minutes. That's right. Another $100 Amazon gift card we're giving away. Actually, I don't like milk without cubes. Weird, I know. How about that? Okay, check out the Bait House in Clearwater Beach if you're near Tampa. Yeah, we're going to spend some time in Tampa for sure. I love to travel around and see the different areas, do some real estate research, you know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Hashtag DIY, hashtag DIY. I'm California and about to install. Right on. Good for you. Okay, Sabrina wants to know, at what point would I tear up original hardwood versus refinish? Okay, that's a tough question. Original hardwood, if it's old, is only 2¼ inch wide. Okay, and it was put down with the wrong kind of nails, and it's always going to squeak. It's always going to crack. It's always going to have the joints break up on you. If it isn't installed to a point where it has a new staple, then I think it's probably worth not refinishing because it's a nightmare to keep it refinished. If I'm restoring a home to look like it's an old home that's been restored, I'll keep it. If I'm trying to modernize the house, then I tear it all out. That's pretty much the basics. Most people aren't trying to remodel an entire house, and so you should try to get as much life out of a floor as you could. That's the practical solution. So sanding works really good. And most hardwood floors, depending on the condition of the house, you can sand twice. Have you heard of Harvest Host? No. Oh, overnight. Yeah, we're long term in it here because we're gonna renovate the whole house. I get the idea. You can like bop around the country. I'm not much for that kind of life. I like some stability. Enough of my life is crazy as it is already. What's the R value of that Santa hat? About 23. It's actually pretty warm. Okay, 6:58, folks. 1 more minute. Hashtag DIY. Get on that draw. If you got a stupid question, ask me. Hashtag stupid question. How does one's member comment become green and big in the chat? I think if you're a new member, that's when that pops up. Those are all new members. Okay, very cool. And or if you do a super chat as a member, it also does that as well. Our new house build guarantee for basement to be dry depends on the builder. Okay, depends on the builder. The guarantee, I think, in a lot of districts now is that they use a waterproofing membrane around the outside of the foundation before they backfill, and that's about as far as it goes. They can't guarantee against cracks. All right, and if they do, they're charging you more for it right up front. So they've already padded your bill with a couple $1,200 for a couple of crack repairs. That's, well, you want a guarantee, you're going to pay for it, right? All right. Yeah. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. We love it down here. We're going to have a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll be able to do some more of these remote location live shows and get a little bit more exciting. This is the whole goal. And Joe puts his bowl in the freezer before he has the cereal. It is now 7 o'clock. Eric, we're going to do the last draw. Thank you very much, buddy. Hashtag DIY. You got half a second. It's over. Let's do this. Hey, Don got it. Look at that. Don's been with us from the very beginning of the show tonight, folks. That's awesome. Cheers, Don. And again, we'll put out a members post and give you guys information about the email that you can contact us to get your card. That'll be easy. Listen, thanks a lot for joining us, guys. This is fun. I'm glad to be down here in sunny Florida, where it's not so sunny right now. But you know what? That's okay. It'll get there, I'm sure. Merry Christmas to all of you. Have a great holiday season. We will see you in the new live show in January. And don't forget to check out our basement series as it's coming up over the next few weeks. And this Saturday, just as a reminder, we have the A to Z brand new shed with the custom made bar video coming out. It's going to be coming out on Sunday morning, though, because Saturday is Christmas and Sunday is coma day. It's for all the food coma patients and everybody else who just wants to sit back and relax and watch something being built for a few hours. We got that video coming out. So check it out. Don't be afraid to watch this on TV. It's a much better experience. Anyway, yeah, it's been a great year. Looking forward to having another one next year. And looking forward to making this live show mobile unit really operate well and having a lot more fun with you guys. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully we've been of help. If you still have questions, hit up the forum, okay? And send us pictures. The more you give me, the more I can give back. All right? And I know I'm behind, but I will catch up. I promise by the end of the weekend. And we'll see you next time real soon. I'm done. My lips are exhausted. Cheers.